Alright guys, today we are going to do a little bit of testing and an install of the Victron Touch 50 for the Cerbo GX, their external touch screen. So, the cord that comes with this thing, unless you are right on top of the Cerbo, is comically short. It really is meant to be just right on the other side of a cabinet or something from it. And I get that. I get the use cases for things like this where it might be closer in a boat or an RV or camper or something. But it is not detachable on the back of the screen. And if you're anything like me, kind of with a non-traditional install in a house, or maybe you've got your Cerbo down in a battery compartment of an RV or camper or something, or in a technical compartment for your boat, and you want this up either at like the helm or a convenient cabinet or something in your living space, you got to try and figure out, do I want to extend all of the cables from the Cerbo, all of the VE Direct cables and CAN bus and everything to get this screen closer, or is there a way to extend the HDMI and USB cable from this screen to the Cerbo, and if so, how long can you get it away? So as you can probably see here, we have a stack of HDMI cables of varying lengths. So the Touch 50 and Touch 70 use a standard HDMI connector for their video display and their touch controls, and then a USB connector for their power. So the USB should not have to do anything but supply power. So wherever you're putting this screen, this is going to be your power source that will connect locally. And all you really need to extend is the HDMI. To test this, we have a power bank over here with a USB out, and then I've got a 6-foot USB 2 extension cable on here. So this will be running off a battery and completely isolated from the rest of the system. Now, my Cerbo GX is installed, so what we're going to do is we're going to be putting an adapter on it so that we're not just plugging and unplugging constantly from the Cerbo. And if you're anything like me and it's really hard to get to that HDMI, one of these right-angle HDMI connectors looks pretty enticing. So we're going to try one of these on the output for every one of these cables, and then we're going to be going through and connecting each of these cables and seeing how far we can get this screen away and what works, what doesn't work, if anything, just using a standard passive HDMI to HDMI coupler. Alright, so the first cable up is going to be this 45-foot active CL2 Redmere cable from Monoprice. So this is an active cable. It does have the Redmere chip in it that is supposed to extend, kind of like an active extender for the HDMI. So it's going to theoretically draw a little bit of power on the cable itself. And this has a display end and a source end. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the source end to the Cerbo and treat this kind of like a TV and do the display or TV end for the touch screen on here and see if this one works. Again, this is a 45-foot cable. All right, we've got the other end connected with one of those right-angle little extensions onto the Cerbo. We've got the display end here, and we are just going to connect this guy in so that it's going through this cable into the display, and then we're going to connect it to power. All right, it says it is starting. So we've got our display clearly. The question is, Does the touch work? All right, so we have a display on this one, but zero touch control at all. That's really interesting. Actually, when I tried this cable before this test, when connected with the USB to the Cerbo directly with just this cable in between, the touchscreen actually did work. So what I want to try is unplugging and plugging this cable back in with the power still on here and seeing if that makes a difference as to which one is connected. So we're going to leave the power connected on the display and reconnect the HDMI. And it says it is starting up. And the touchscreen works. So it does matter which order you do. If you connect the power to the display first and then the cable, looks like everything works just fine. And it is just as responsive as if it was connected directly. So the 45-foot active cable from Monoprice with the red mirror and a 6-inch coupler with a right angle and a coupler on here powered from another source with a 6-foot USB does work. Everything from here on out is going to be a passive cable, so no chips in it, no amplifiers, no anything. Let's see which one of those will work. All right, next up, we've got this 50-foot in-wall rated HDMI cable. This HDMI cable has been around for quite a while, floating around my house. And it is just a standard, it says it is a 23 gauge CL3 HDMI with Ethernet. I'm not sure if that makes a difference. I don't know what pairs of wires this display is using, but this is not even a 4K. This is a fairly old cable that I had hanging around. But again, this is a 50-foot completely passive HDMI cable. So let's get this one connected and see if it works. All right, we have connected the passive 50-foot standard HDMI cable with Ethernet to the little adapter again, directly to the Cerbo GX. We've got our Touch 50 here connected with the coupler on the battery. Let's see if this one works. Okay, it popped up for a second and then is restarting. Okay, it is rebooting again. And it is rebooting again. Okay, so this one does work, and the touch does work on it. I'm not quite sure why it was rebooting. It appeared to be when I touched something, so maybe this one's kind of right on the edge. I'm not sure. It does not quite seem to be as responsive as the previous active cable was. At least with the menu buttons and things. Everything else seems fine, but it's a little bit off. So this one I would say is probably right on the edge. All right. Next up, we are going to try the 35-foot 4K. This is a high-speed high-speed in-wall rated with Ethernet. This is a CL2, I believe, from Blue Rigger that I just got off of Amazon. Seems to be a pretty good cable. Again, in-wall rated, passive, so there's no circuitry in here to amplify anything. Let's get this one connected, again, with the right angle adapter, and see what we get. Okay, so we've got the 35-foot high-speed with Ethernet from Blue Rigger, and this one's, again, connected to the little 6-inch right-angle adapter. Power, just like before with the other ones, coming off of the battery bank. Let's see if this one works. Okay, we are rebooting. Seems to be fairly standard for all these when disconnected and reconnected. All right, this one is instantaneous. Again, no difference with this one between being directly connected with the Cerbo and with this cable in between. So this one seems like it is a winner. Okay, next up, last but not least, we have a 65-foot standard Ethernet cable that I got a very long time ago. I cannot tell you anything about this one other than it's 65 feet long. It has Ethernet. I think most of the ones I got did. But again, this thing is kind of a no-name brand. I think I got off Amazon probably like 10 years ago. So this is a passive cable, and I don't have high hopes for it, but let's see if we can push this screen to over 65 feet away. I think we have quite a bit of cable left. Okay, so 65-foot cable, completely passive, connected, again, 6-inch right angle adapter into the Cerbo. Let's see if this one does something and hopefully doesn't fry anything. Okay, it says it is starting up. We have a display. Okay, and the 65-foot standard HDMI cable appears to work with 0 issue and 0 lag here. So between the built-in cable and the extension on here, we are over 70 feet of cable away from the Cerbo GX and powered by a completely unrelated power source. Honestly, if you need to be more than 65 feet away from your Cerbo, you should probably rethink what you're using. Zero issue, it looks like. I don't know how long it would hold up or if there would be any long-term errors or anything, but right out of the box, standard HDMI coupler, and this guy works. So I am going to be using the 35-foot Blue Rigger in-wall rated cable, primarily because I don't need this much cable hanging out somewhere. And I'm not even sure if this one's in-wall rated, which mine will be going in-wall. So I'm just going over from one side of my workshop to the other into the house where my smart home panel is. So let's get that run and see how it looks and kind of why you'd want to do this.
Up in the attic again. I'm up in the attic again. I'm up where the heat never ends. I'm up in the attic again.
All right. It's in, and everything is completely responsive and works just like it's supposed to. So now, instead of going out to my battery and solar system, I can just do everything from in here. Alright guys, links in the description. Like, subscribe if you want more of this kind of stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.